In this demo, we're going to walk through Profisee's AI capabilities, including the ability for Aisey to help users along their entire user journey inside of Profisee, as well as the ability to consume master data using AI tools outside of Profisee via our MCP server. We'll start off by showing how Aisey can help somebody learn the Profisee platform, and we'll ask her to help us understand how we can start putting some product data under management. I ask her the question, and Aisey starts giving me a step-by-step guide on how I can start to configure a solution, including at the end links to various documents within Profisee to help users get more detail if they need it. This is great. I'm going to go ahead and have Aisey help create my first entity for me. And so now this is an example of how Aisey can actually help me go from learning to doing. With that entity created, I can ask Aisey and she can navigate me to this newly created entity. Now from here, I could start having Aisey help me configure additional attributes on this entity, but what we're going to do instead is we're going to start bringing some data into this entity. Going over to the admin side of Profisee, we're going to create a new integration strategy to import items. We're going to be loading these into our new item entity. In this case, we'll be loading these from our Fabric Warehouse connection from Fabric's OneLake. We'll be importing some data. And now with that initially set up, we're ready to start doing our data mapping. However, we haven't defined the underlying structure of our entity. What we can do here is actually have Aisey help us both generate the data model, the attributes that we need to load this data into, as well as the underlying integration mappings to those new attributes. Here, Aisey comes up with her suggestions for my model. And in this case, I actually want to use list-based attributes or domain-based attributes for storing our categories and vendors. So we can go ahead and take her suggestions and tweak those based off of our requirements. With those changes made, we can go ahead and accept the rest of our suggestions, and we've now generated both our data model and our integration mappings in one pass. We'll go get this integration strategy ready to execute, save it. We are now ready to start running this and importing some data into our new item entity. Moments later, we can go open up our item entity, and here we can see that our data has been loaded, including the population of our categories and our vendors, which were all created as a part of that modeling exercise. Now, the first thing we can do is have Aisey help us understand how we can improve the quality of our data. Here we can see we've gone ahead and asked Aisey to help us look at the data in our entity. Aisey is able to reach out, look at the data, and suggest a number of different rules we can create. I have her go ahead and create one of the suggested rules, and she successfully does that. From there, I'll go ahead and ask her to run rules so that those rules are executed against our data. Once it runs it, she then asks whether I'd like her to go ahead and look at the existing records to see which records have issues. She comes back with those 3 records that have data quality issues. If we click refresh, we can see those same 3 records indicated now in the grid. I can ask Aisey for her suggestions, and she comes back and tells me which values she would recommend for these 3 records. I could go ahead and have her complete those updates to those data quality issues. But then what happens tomorrow when new records arrive that have the same data quality issues? What we actually want to do is we want to create an agent that will automatically correct these DQ issues as new records arrive. We'll flip back over to administration. And the first thing we'll do is we'll actually just show the rule that was just created for us by Aisey. We see here that Aisey has created a rule that says category must be populated with the appropriate expression, and that's what's flagging those records with their underlying data quality issues. Now, what I want to do is actually create an agent that will watch for newly arriving records, spot new data quality issues that arise, and correct those automatically for us without any human intervention required. Profisee has a growing list of agents available. In this case, we'll pick our data quality agent. We'll pick the underlying LLM model that we want to use. We'll pick the entity that we want to correct data in. We now specify which attribute we want to correct. We also specify the other information we want to pass off to AI so that it can determine what the appropriate category is to assign. If necessary, I can also give additional prompts to help coach the large language model on what the correct answer is. I'll go ahead and specify Aisey as the account that this will run under. And I'm now ready to run our new agent. Upon running, the agent will go back through all of our existing data, quickly clean up all of the missing categories on our behalf, which you can see now these have all been corrected and all of our data quality issues have been resolved. Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to match our duplicate records within this data set. But one of the challenges with matching inside the MDM market has always been matching things like products. We don't always have clear identifiers like we do businesses or people. We'll go ahead and create our new matching strategy, connect it to our item entity. We'll specify that we both want to match and create golden records as part of this process. We'll add some additional attributes using Aisey that we'll use to store the results of our matching process. And then we'll go through and specify how we want records to be identified and grouped together. In this case, the two attributes we want to use are name and category. For category, we want to match records when they have the exact same category. But for our name attribute, which really contains a description of the product, we want to use AI embedding to do our matching. And what this does is it actually matches values together based off of their conceptual similarity using AI vector embeddings. We'll go ahead and specify our survivorship setup. In this case, we'll just go ahead and survive all of our core attributes. And this will be how we populate the master record with information from across our source records. We'll save this strategy and enable it. And now the strategy will automatically begin processing our items. Right now it's going out, it's fetching vector embeddings, it's building out a similarity graph. It's identifying the records that look like they should be grouped together, grouping those records together, and it's already completed and has created our golden records. We can see here that it's actually identified 5 groups of records that go together. And if we open up one of those match groups, we can see that these 3 records were matched together based off their name and category, but the names themselves aren't exactly the same. In fact, they're using quite different words to describe the same conceptual item of a medium blue safety glove. Now, at the beginning, one of the things Aisey recommended is that we actually group together all of our information underneath the data product. So going back to our admin area, we're going to create a new data product called product. We'll add to that product our item, our vendor, and our category entities, and we'll save that data product. Now, what we can do is we can actually go start to consume this information inside of Microsoft Fabric. Inside of our Fabric workspace, we're going to create a new Profisee data product. We'll call it Product Master. That will be the name of our item inside of Fabric. We will now connect to the same underlying Proxy environment that we've been using to build out our solution so far. Upon connecting, we can see our 2 available data products, including the one we just created, which is what we'll ultimately connect to. Now that we've created that data product, we can see all the underlying entities inside of our solution, including our item data. We can see our data quality rules, and we can see our matching strategies as well. Now, in this case, I'd like to actually bring some new European product data into my solution. So we'll go create a new integration strategy. We'll pick our Fabric warehouse as our source, specify a name, the entity we want to load data to, the table we want to load data from, the fact that we want to load this data to Profisee. And now we go through and map the various attributes from our source into our target entity inside of Profisee. With our mapping complete, we're now ready to go ahead and save and execute this integration strategy. We'll run it. And now as that data loads, a couple really cool things will happen. Number 1, our AI agent is running automatically in the background, which will automatically fix missing category information. Number 2, the new arriving records with products described in different languages will be automatically matched by Profisee's AI-assisted matching. Go ahead and refresh our view here. We see that our data quality issues were automatically resolved. We can also see that all of our European records were matched into the other North America data set. And if we search for records that were part of that original glove data group, match group, we can open up that match group. We can see here that we've actually managed to match these same glove records, but now across the languages of English, Spanish, and French, showing the ability for us to use AI-assisted matching and tokenized vector embeddings to identify and group together records that conceptually match but are described in very different languages. So now at this point, we've really shown how Aisey and AI can be used across the entire user journey inside of Profisee, from learning the solution, configuring your application, using AI to help with stewardship and AI capabilities inside of our actual MDM features, as well as the ability to use agents to automate a lot of the traditional manual data stewardship. But now we want to start leveraging the same information in our enterprise AI tools outside of Profisee, and that's where Profisee's MCP Server comes into play. With Profisee's MCP Server, we can connect any modern AI tool, such as in this case Claude, to Profisee's MCP Server, which you can see here. And with Claude connected to Profisee's MCP Server, we can now start asking questions about our master data. In this case, I want to ask it the question about which vendors do I buy blue gloves from, because I'm looking to consolidate some of our spending in order to gain more advantageous pricing with our vendors. In this case, Claude, using Profisee's MCP Server, is able to identify that we do have some blue glove records, that those blue glove records are part of a larger match group. It's able to identify all the various vendors across the different records, across both my North American and European data sets, and is ultimately able to get me my answer about which vendors we buy blue gloves from. So in this demo, we've seen the ability for both AI to accelerate the user journey and to make MDM easy, and then the ability to then use that curated data within Profisee inside of the broader AI ecosystem.